This video is the first of a series of videos that I'm going to try to put out that I hope will encourage you, inspire you, and give you confidence to persevere, most importantly, as you live out God's call on your life. And my idea is to take just one example out of the scriptures that shows perseverance and it shows faith, because those are the things that really engage us and keep us going, our faith, our hope in the Lord, because this world really has nothing to offer that will allow us to persevere for a long period of time and through the thick and thin. But our faith in Jesus, our hope in his return, those are the things that we can find fuel as we walk with God in the service that he's called us to do. I want to begin by just bringing up Enoch out of the Old Testament, out of the book of Genesis. One of my favorite chapters in the whole Bible is Hebrews chapter 11, that talks about the Old Testament saints and the great faith that they showed that allowed them to persevere even through intense persecution and tough times in their lives. They persevered because they had hope beyond this world, hope in a God that loves them, that created them, that called them. Enoch is really the place that I want to start in this video, because Enoch was a man that the Bible says in Hebrews chapter 11 was known, even before he was taken up alive by God, was known as a man that pleased God. And then it says, without faith, it is impossible to please God. Something to live by right there. Without faith, it is impossible to live by, to please God. And we got to live by that because we are going to run into difficult situations in our lives where we have nothing but that to hold on to. It's our lifeline, if you will. You know, Jesus gave the story of two people that built houses, one on the sand, one on the stone, and the one that built their house on the stone, the firm foundation, survived all the storms that came through. The one that built their house on the sand, their house was destroyed because the foundation wasn't strong. Our foundation has to begin with our faith in Jesus Christ. One example in the Bible that really sticks out to me that is not in Hebrews chapter 11 is John the Baptist. You know, John was created, he was born, he lived for a specific purpose. And, you know, it's interesting just to read the very few things that we know about John from scriptures, to read how his life was not a life of luxury. It was not a life of comfort and, you know, things of the world. You know, the world probably considered him the scum of the earth, you know, the outcast, you know, living in the woods and eating bugs, and who knows what he looked like and what he smelled like. And he had a loud voice, right? And he was quick to pronounce God's judgment on sin. Everything that the world stood against, John represented, because John represented God. And John was faithful to God's call, even to the point of death. Jesus' words about John the Baptist were very inspirational. They are to me, at least, because Jesus described John the Baptist as, there's no one greater in this world than John the Baptist. The world would probably consider him one of the least in the world in history, but Jesus said he was the greatest. You know why he was the greatest? Because he was faithful. He was faithful to God's call in his life, and he persevered to the end. But even in that, John had doubts right before he was beheaded. And, you know, that just shows the human side of John, and it kind of gives me some encouragement, because we're not always going to have it together, but God doesn't give up on us. So, you know, I hope this video God would use it just to give you some encouragement to persevere in your faith. You know, you're going to really run into some hard times, and you have already, I know, run into some very hard times, some difficult times. You've had to make some hard decisions. You probably question sometimes if what you're doing is really making a difference. Should you be doing something else? But listen, hold on to that call that God has on your life. Persevere and live faithfully out that call that He's given you. God has personally given you an invitation to join Him in the one mission that God deems most important, that is reconciling people to Himself. And God's asked you and me to come alongside Him to do that. So stay strong, persevere, hold on to your faith, because one day, just as John the Baptist experienced, just like Enoch experienced, we're going to experience that jubilation of knowing that our faithfulness really meant something, that it was all worth it in the end. Let me know if I can help you with anything, and I appreciate you very much. Have a great day.